Hi guys and welcome to the circus. So here we have another deck profile for you guys, but this time I won't be the one doing it. This deck profile is going to be done by none other than our local Bermuda main, which is Yuusha-sama. So you probably heard him already. We are going to be showcasing his PRISM deck from our past few videos. So without further ado, Yuusha-sama, take it away.
Hello YouTube, I'm Yuusha, the person Vanilla fought in his 4 video series. So here's a deck profile of the PRISM deck I used in his video. So let's start with the grade 3s. 4 copies of Vert. She's enough on her own. She's your only ride target for the deck. Next, the grade 2 slots. Obviously, for Rosa, because with Vert's skill, you need to call her from bind. And also because she's also a searcher, can add the 1 card to hand and set up your bind zone early game. Next is Lizelot. Well, it's kind of a no-brainer. She's an inherent +1 on field or soul. And the deck, of course, loves both. So why not run her? Next is Aqua. So she bounces. That's it. Plus, she can be a beat stick if ever. Because only just put a booster behind her and it will automatically become at least a 23k column. Next is my tech option. It's the free 2 slots. Here, I used 2 copies of Fleeting Memoria Actiana because she's a 19k beater and you can repeatedly use her in this deck because she just goes back to hand and you can call her again next turn. So for the grade 1 slot, we start with 4 copies of Clear, also a call target for Vert, and an early game consistency card. When you ride her, she searches for a grade 2 or higher Prism. So basically, you have 2 search targets, so it's very likely to hit into one of these. But if you don't, still good. At least you shuffled your deck. And I forgot to mention also that she, along with Rosa, has power pumping effects upon being called to rear from bind zone. So they're both a plus in power and in card advantage. Next, 4 copies of Mermaid Idol Sedna. I think it's self-explanatory. She's also another consistency card that the deck needs. And also because if you put her behind Aqua, it will be at an inherent 28k column. Next, we have 4 copies of Mermaid Idol Ellie. Basically, she searches for herself. When the attack she boosted hits, she searches for herself and adds to hand, then retires herself. Basically, another defensive card for this deck and one that can force opponent to guard as well. Basically, when she's put onto guard circle, she becomes a 20k column as long as you can return another Ellie from drop zone. And on top of that, you only need 1 Ellie in drop zone and every other Ellie in your hand is an automatic 20k shield. And lastly, Radka, another consistency card. Her skill is retire herself, then look at the top 2, add 1 to hand, and the other to drop zone. It's nice if you manage to hit 1 in certain situations when you have Ellie or when you hit a Prism in your top 2 because both of them are pluses. And for the starting Vanguard, it can be anything, to be honest. I just like Shizuku's design, so I used her. And as for the triggers, 8 crits, 4 draw, 4 heal. The standard. You'd need the 4 draw PG because one of the deck worst matchups are decks that basically push big numbers. And as for your alternate options for the 2 Actiana, your possible alternate cards can be maybe 2 copies of grade 2 Caro to ensure your second grade 3 ride, 2 grade 3 Caro for a bit more pushing power to force your opponent to guard a bit more, 2 Spiana for the drop zone cycling and the counter charge. You can also run 2 copies of Ralentes just for the counter charge when you run out of them, or 2 copies of Ange or Lupina, but I can't show you because I don't have them. So that wraps up my PRISM deck profile. Stay tuned for the next Bermuda deck profiles. And as Vanilla usually says, see you next time!